I told you, right? So here action one, action one, action two. And repeat this. This is action one. But okay. So it won't execute in this order. It will execute in run logic order. Whatever the logic present in run logic, it will execute. So here run action one will execute first, action will execute second, action two will execute third. This is the order it will execute. So in action one, I used LR abort. Say if I do replay, first it go to user init. First it will execute the whatever the script present in user init. Next comes to action one. Next it comes to action one. LR abort. See what happened? Script aborted. Script aborted. Without any condition. I have not given any condition. Without any condition, if you want to abort the script in a situation when it comes to you, if you got a situation, if you want to abort the script, you can use this function. Okay, and that is what abort here. If you see here, okay, example. So if some example you have compared two strings and it is 0, login failed, you are aborting the script. Else login passed. Then second function is LR exit function. So LR exit function is similar to an LR abort, but see what happens here. After one LR abort, it is not executing action 2, it is not executing action 1, it is not executing user end. It simply abort the script. It simply abort the script. But what LR action will do, LR exit will do means, LR exit transaction will do means, depending on the condition, it will execute the next, it will go to the next action. Automatically it will go to the next action, or it will, we have multiple examples like where is LR exit? Yeah, LR exit, pass the page. So if you use this function, now see what happens. Or we can use a different one. LR exit, action and continue. Okay. If I use like this, what it will do means, so user init, see, please observe carefully. What has been done here? If you carefully observe what has been done there, it is not aborting the script. It is exiting from that particular action and going to the next action. That is what we have written, right? LR exit action and continue. It will exit the current action 1 and now it is executing action 2. It is executing action. This part it is executing. So like this you can use LR exit function. For example, if you are trying to book a ticket and in the situation your account balance is 100 rupees. For example, your account balance is less than 100 rupees. For example, let us take, if your account balance is less than 100 rupees, you have to execute action 1. If the account balance is greater than 100 rupees, you have to execute action 2. In that situation, what you will do means, you will write a script in any one of the action. Okay, so if balance, if balance is equal, if balance is less than 100, okay, execute action 1. Okay, LR exit action and continue to action 2. If the balance is greater than 100, then don't execute action 1, execute action 3. So like LR exit function will help you to perform such kind of actions, whereas LR abort, without any condition, it will its complete script is aborted. Complete script is aborted. It won't execute action 1, it won't execute action 2, it won't execute action 3, it won't execute vuser end. It's simply about the wherever it finds the LR abort function, it simply stop the execution. Whereas LR exit function, it depending on the situation. It depends on the situation you want to execute. There are multiple options. LR exit vuser, LR exit action and continue, LR exit iteration and continue. For example, if you are running the script with multiple iterations, current iteration you exit and go to the next iteration. Likewise, if you want to do such, LR exit iteration and continue. Okay, LR exit vuser after this iteration. After this iteration, don't go for next iteration. You simply exit the vuser. Okay, so depending on the situation, you have to use this LR exit function. Very important function. Then LR start transaction and LR stop transaction. LR start transaction and LR stop transaction. This is different. LR start transaction, LR end transaction. That is different. What is LR start and end? What is the use of LR start transaction and LR end transaction? Is there any function here? Yeah, if you want to get a response time for a particular request, this is a one request. This blue mark, this blue selected information is one request. If you want to get the response time for this request, you have to add the LR start transaction here and the LR end transaction here. Okay, LR start and stop is different. Yeah, same. This is okay. This is different. Resume transaction is different. This is also same. Stop you can also use. End is equivalent. You can also use end. So this is allow you to measure the response time of a page or a request. If you want to calculate the response time of a page or request, you can use this. Okay. Whereas the resume transaction is different. If you want to stop will have different use in different cases, different types. For example, LR underscore stop. Stop, I think it is stop. It is deprecated. This function is already deprecated. Yeah, this is the old manual. This function is deprecated. It is not there. So LR resume transaction. So what is the LR resume transaction? Whenever this transaction counts after the end transaction, it will resume the same transaction once again. It will resume the same transaction once again. That is the use of this resume. Yeah, coming to LR save string. What is the purpose of LR save string? I tell you what is the purpose of LR save string. If you want to convert a C variable to an LR variable, if you want to assign a value to an LR variable, if you want to convert a C variable to an LR variable, C variable to LR variable, you have to use LR save string. You have to use LR save string. Similarly, LR save int function. If you want to convert an integer to an LR parameter, you have to use LR save. Integer to LR variable or LR parameter, you have to use LR save int function. And this is syntax. LR save int, this is an integer, XYZ is an LR parameter. Okay. And I told you LR eval string. What is the use of LR eval string? Reverse. If you want to convert LR parameter to a C variable, so it depends on the situation where you want to convert the case. Okay. So you can use LR eval string. LR param array random function. I told you, right? So from set of array, it generates a random value from an array. It selects automatically. It will pick a random value from an array and it will pass into a specified source. So whatever the thing you have mentioned here, it will automatically pass. Okay. And similarly, LR param array IDX index, LR param array IDX. So what is the difference between these two is, so here it is automatic. This is manual. That is the only difference. It will automatically picks a value and passes here. But here it won't automatically pick. Here you have to specify the index. See, out of 10 values, if you want to pass the fourth value, it will automatically pass. What is out, out of 10 values? If you give 2, now tell me which value is there in source. This is an array. This is my array. In this array, in this array, if I give LR param array index value as 2, if I give index value of 2, which city is there in source? Paris. Paris is there in source. If I give 1, London it will pass London. If I give 3, it will pass Denver. So manually, if you want to pass a value from the list of array, it will, you have to use LR param array random, LR param array random IDX function. Okay, so index you are passing here. This is the difference between these two functions. Yeah, LR save date and time. If you want to print a date and time, not from the parameters. Generally, from the parameters also we can print the date and time. New parameter, date, select the date. If you want to select the date, file type, parameter file type, so date and time. So format, which format you want to select? You want to select by year, month, day, or year, month, day, year. So in which format? See, we have faced an issue, right, by passing this. What is the issue means? Here the date and time is in the format of month, day, year, but we are trying to pass day, month, year. That time we have failed this. So please carefully you have to check what is the value in the script. In that value only you have to pass the month, date, year. So other mistake we have done is there is 2023, but it is, see, if you use small y, it will pass only 23. If you use capital Y, see, 2023. So you have to check the format in the script. In that format only you have to use the functions. If there is only 23, just use small y. Just use small y, it will pass only 23. But in script, if there is 2023 is there, then you have to change it to capital Y and select the date. Okay. And if you want to pass one day next from the current day, you can offset this. You can offset this number of days, 3 days. You can time also, you can offset. From the current day, choose the date as 5 days. If you want to select only working days, it will ignore Saturday and Sunday. If you want to go back to prior date, select this. From the current day, it will pass the prior 4 days. So likewise, you can select from the parameters. But we have another option. We have directly passed this function. You can use this function. If you want, we will print this. The runtime settings. See, if you want to check the log, if you want to print the log, go to log. Always select extended log and parameter substitution. But while running, you have to go for standard log. There is no use of log while running text executing, script execution. Okay. See, it is printing. If you check date, the first one is month. Sorry, the first one is month, date, year, time. Okay. And this is now that this value is stored in the current date and time. This value is stored in the current date and time. Okay. If you use small y, it will print only 2020. It won't print 2023. It just print 23. And this date is stored in the current date. This is the parameter, LR parameter. So if you want to use anywhere, you can use this LR parameter. You are saving that time and date. Yeah, see. Now it is just printing 23 only. It is not printing entire thing. It is printing 23 only. Okay. So if you want to manually print something, manually print the date and time, you can use this function. LR save date and time. It will manually print the data and it will store the data into this current date and time. So if you want to have different formats, just take the function help. Just take the help of the function. Go to examples. Simply copy the required format you require. Yeah, date format codes. You can click on this date format codes. See, percentage A 1 week, percentage B, percentage C, percentage hours, 24 hours. If you see, if you print capital H, it will print in 24 hours. Capital I 12 hours. Okay, capital M minutes, small m 0 to 12, small m. So from here you can get it all the details. Okay, so this is one of the LR function. Coming to next LR function, LR set debug message. LR set debug message. See, I told you, right, while we are executing the script, while we are running the test execution, during load test, endurance test, any kind of test, what we are doing, we are running the script in standard log. In order to avoid the memory issues, we are running the script in standard log. But if you want a log for any script, if you want a log for any particular request, if you, even in the standard log, if you want a log for any particular request, you can use this function. What is that? LR set debug message. LR set debug message on. If you use this function before the before the request, and after the request you have to use this function. After the request, again you have to use this function. Okay, if you use this function, so what it is doing, even in runtime settings, it will bypass the runtime settings. This function LR set debug message function will bypass the runtime settings. What is actually there in runtime settings? In runtime settings, we are running the test execution standard log. But if you go to the script, if you use this switch on, LR switch on and the LR switch off, it will only get the log for this particular request, even in the standard log also, even in the standard log runtime settings. So it will bypass the runtime settings. So in a situation, if you want to get the log for a particular request only, you have to use that LR function. And DB connect. So if you want to connect the database, you have to provide the database credentials, and you can connect the database. Because sometimes, if you are running an SQL query inside the script, if you are running an SQL query, means you want to connect with the DB, right? So you will have to use LR DB connect. Inside that, you have to provide the username, password, and IP address of that DB. It will automatically connect to the DB, and it will execute an SQL query written here, and it will disconnect. If you want to disconnect again, you have to use the disconnect. Okay, this is what you can use. Okay, this is simple. LR error on continue. For example, if you found any error, even if you found any error, you don't want to stop the execution, still you have to continue, means you have to use this function LR exit error. Inside that, if you use 0, it will automatically undo. 1, continue. 2 means skip the next action. 3 means skip the next iteration. 4 means user end. It will end that particular users. For example, if you are running the script with 10 users, it will terminate only the current user. Remaining, it will run the script with the remaining 9 users. Okay, so the value, depending on the value you are passing inside these brackets, so the functionality will differ. So LR continue on error. Okay, DLL is not used in Linux machines. We generally use this, but rarely use this LR function. And LR output message. If you want to print something, see, if you are printing here, means without LR output message, it won't print anything here. So if you want to print anything, so you have to use an LR. See, arrival city and departure city are same. You can't book the flight. So if you want to print this message, you need LR output message. it will print the message to the output log, output window. So if you want to print the message to the log file, so you have to use the LR log message. LR message. See, if you see the LR output message, let's give this one. What is the difference between LR output message and LR message is okay, got it. Server is not started. Okay, fine. So what is the difference between LR output message and LR message is LR message, it will print the message, any message, it will print the message along with action and line number. It prints the line number C. What is 7? Line number 7. And action. Action.c is the file. Action.c. This is the action.c is the file. Action.c line number 7. Action.1 line number 10. Action.2 line number. It will print the action and the line number. Which one? LR output message. But LR message, it won't print anything. For example, I will show you. It won't print the action method, line number and all. It will only print the message. It will only print the message. So started, right? See here, the arrival city and the departure city are different. You can book your flight. See, it is printing the action and it is printing the line number also. Line number 79. If you see, line number 79. What is this error message? Where we have got an error? Replay status failure. But it is not showing any error. User and not action to not return to action. Okay, LR exit. See, we have written LR exit, action and continue, LR fail. We asked the script to fail. But see, if you see, the script is passed actually, but because of this function, script is fail. Because we asked to, without any condition, we are asking the script to fail. So you can also pass it like this, PASS. If you use this, it will automatically pass the script. The script is actually passed, but depending on this condition, it fails the script. Okay, the script is passed. Okay, comment this line. See, okay. The arrival city and the departure city are different. You can book a flight. Instead of LR output message, if I give only message, LR message, now if you see what it will be. See, what is the difference? What is the difference? It is not showing any action from which action it is printing, at which line it is printing, nothing. It is not showing anything. And if you double click, it is not taking me to that particular line also. If you double click it, it is not taking me to that particular line. But if you use LR output message, so see, it will print the action, which action file, it will print the line number, and it will print finally it will print the message. So it depends. So where you have to use that function. See, now please check. The arrival city and departure city are different. You can book the flight. If you double click on this line, it is automatically taken to that particular line. So that is the difference between LR output message and LR message. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, LR out message. Yeah. So LR. Okay, here output. Yeah, output message. It is not LR out message. There is a mistake. This is LR output message. Output message. I think there is no out message. I think the out message is there. Yes, it is not there. See, this is an error. The out message is there. If you have any confusion, take the help of the F1. Out message. No. LR out message. There is no such function. LR output. Output message. Function F1. See, if your F1 is not working, means you have to function F1 in your keyboard. Yeah, yeah, that is the difference. So if you want to get the IP address of the user, see, while you are running the text execution, different LG machines are involved, right? So if you want to get the IP address, LR get user IP will be used. Rarely used these functions. We are rarely using this. Not used. Okay. So these are the main functions: LR eval string, LR save string, integer to string conversion, string to integer. They, these are very important. So if you want to convert C variable to LR variable, you have to use LR save string. If you want to convert LR variable to C variable, LR eval string. Integer to LR variable, LR save int. LR variable to integer, A to I. Okay. So okay, depending on the situation, you have to use those functions. Yeah, that's it. They are all LR functions. So this is coming to web functions. Tell me one web function till now you have seen. Tell me one. Yes, web receive param. So it is a web functions. Web receive param comes under web function. Web set max HTML parent length. Web set max HTML param length. It is used in the script. What is the use of this function is, see, we have written web receive param function, right? It will capture the dynamic value between the left and right boundaries. The value between the left and right boundaries. If the number of characters between the left and right boundary is, if the number of characters between the left and right boundary is 256 characters, it will capture, this function will capture. But if the number of characters between left and right boundary is more than 256, if it is 257, this function will not capture the dynamic value. This function will not capture the dynamic value. So what we have to provide means, at the starting of the script, you have to write web set max HTML param length. You have to provide any length. For example, 1000, whatever the length you want to capture. You can provide n number of characters. So if you want to capture a dynamic value of length 1000, you have to use provide 1000. But if you don't know the length of the dynamic value is 1000, what you will do? Simply provide the max value that you can provide. It will provide the 1000, it will provide 10,000, it will provide 9,000, it will provide up to 20,000, it will provide all the values. Okay, so that is the use of web set max param HTML param length. Or timestamp, rarely used. Web say param, regularly used. Web say param, regular expression, we use. Web say param regexp. Forget about this ex. We have very important two functions is WebBridge save param, WebBridge save param, regexp. What is the difference between those two? WebBridge save param and WebBridge save param regexp. Yes, what is the difference between WebBridge save param, regular expression? Running or something. Yes, yeah. What is the difference between WebBridge save param and WebBridge save param regexp? Underscore regx. What is the difference between these two? When we have to use WebBridge save param and when we have to use WebBridge save param regular expression. I told you. I told you. When we use WebBridge save param and when we use WebBridge save param ext. If left and right boundaries are static, there is no change in left and right boundaries. There is no change in left and right boundaries. You have to use WebBridge save param. Take this example. Take this example. So I want to capture London. This London I want to capture. So what is the left boundary of this London? This dynamic value. This is the left boundary. Then what is the right boundary of this value? This is the right boundary. If you see in right boundary, there is a dynamic value. This is a dynamic value in right boundary. If there is a dynamic value in the right boundary, this will fail. This you have to use. This you have to use. You have to write a regular expression. So regexp101 is the website. You go to this website, very important website you have to take care of when you are dealing with the left and right boundaries dynamic values. Copy this expression. Okay, here you have to write the regular expression. How do you write a regular expression? Means this is the dynamic value, right? In place of dynamic value, you write dot star question mark. Okay, so you have to use the backspace. Escape character. That's the question mark. Why it is so at a double quote, you have to use backslash. Regular expression does not match. Why? Option. Take a different value. Test string. Insert. Yeah, okay, fine. Regular expression there we have. Here we have to pay the original string, and here we have to write the regular expression. Instead of this, start question mark. See, group 1, it is matching London. If you observe here, it is matching London. But this is also our dynamic value. What you have to provide means again you have to write a dot star question mark. So group 1, group 2. Group 1 is this London, group 2 is this London. So now you can take this expression and you can use in the regular expression. Now, which value you want to capture, the first value or second value? So you have to provide the group. Group is equal to insert web reg say param regular expression. If you double click on this, see it is asking for group, right? Copy the regular expression. Which group value you want to select? This is first group. The brackets indicate the group. These brackets indicate group. This is one group. This is second group. Which group you want to capture? The second group you want to capture. Or first group. Group number 1 you want to capture. This is the parameter. So if you click on OK, it will create a function for us. Library say param regular expression, parameter name. This is our regular expression. Group 1 I want to capture. If you want to capture group 2, provide group 2. Okay. This function you have to use. Okay. Any doubts? Now tell me, when we have to use every step param regular expression? not the more dynamic values. If the left boundary and right boundary are dynamic, if the left boundary and right boundary are static, then you have to use a normal function. Okay. Here, if you see, if I want to capture this London, this is my left boundary. This is my right boundary. If there is Paris, here also will be Paris. Correct. So my left and right boundaries are not static. So if my left and right, if here Paris is there, here also will be Paris is there. Okay. So if my left and right boundaries are not static, I have to go for the Webbridge save param regexp, regular expression. For that, there is no left and right boundaries. If you see, there is no left and right boundaries. If you see here, this is the value regular expression, right? There is first is parameter name, second one is regular expression. Instead of left and right boundary, the regular Webbridge save param function, this is a different. See, the first one is Webbridge save param. The second one is Webbridge save param regular expression. So here parameter name is equal to here left boundary, right boundary, last. But here there is no left and right boundaries. You will have regular expression. Here you have to write the regular expression. And if there are any multiple groups in regular expression, you have to provide the group number you want to capture, and you have to store it in city, and finally last. Okay, that is the difference. So that is the difference between Webbridge save param and Webbridge save param regexp. So on Webbridge find, what is the use of Webbridge find? I told you to insert the text checkpoints. If you want to validate a request, if you want to validate the request response, you have to add the Webbridge find function. Webbridge find, if there is a welcome text, if there is a welcome message, then it will pass a particular transaction. Otherwise, it will fail the request. It will fail the request. That is the use of Webbridge find. Webbridge find is deprecated. Image check is not required. Proxy is not required. And web submit data and web submit form. Web submit data and web submit form. This is what? This is web submit data. If you record the script in recording report, not the recording report, sorry, in recording settings, I told you, right? We have two recording modes, HTML mode and URL mode. If you record the script in HTML mode, you will get web submit data. Web submit data. If you record the script in HTML mode, URL mode, you will get web submit form. What is the difference between web submit URL mode and HTML mode? I told you. I shown you, right? When we record in, try to record the script. You try to record the script. Only change is go to recording options, HTML advanced, select these two and record the script. And go to URL and try to record the script. You find the difference. What is the difference I told you? If you record the script in URL mode, for each and every request, it will create a separate, for each and every resource, it will create a separate request. Resource like images, text. Okay. If you found any CSS files, JavaScript files, sorry, I told you also, Control Shift I. Okay. If I reload the same, go to the developer tool, see how many resources are there associated with that single page. I am clearing all the things and I am replaying this. See, there are multiple resources, not only web functions. There are multiple functions associated. CSS file, JS file, JS, CSS cascade style, JavaScript, images, text, PNG file, icons, icon 114. View, this is R. See, in the website somewhere there is R, right? Somewhere there is R, that image. So there are multiple resources associated in a single page. So if you want to record each and every resource as a separate request, this is one request. Like this, if you want to record a separate request for each and every resource, you have to record the script in URL mode. Otherwise, you have to record the script in HTML mode. By default, 99% of the times, 99% of the projects, we use HTML mode only. We use HTML mode only. We don't record the scripts in URL mode. Rare cases we use URL mode. So in URL mode, if you record a script, it will be in the form of web submit form. Okay, web get int property function. So, for example, you have a situation depending on the status code if you want to fail the transaction. So, what if we got the status code as 200? I told you status code 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, right? So, depending on the status code, if you want to fail or pass a transaction, snapshots, record, so see, this is 200. The status code is 200 for this particular request. Okay, status code is 200. If it is 200, you have to pass the script. If it is not 200, you have to fail the script. So in that situation, if you want to get the status of a particular HTTP status code for a particular request, you have to use this function. Okay, web get int property. Where is that? Yeah, web get int property. HTTP status info return code. If you use this HTTP info return code, it will get the status code of a particular request. If the status code is then simply command if status code is equal to 100, pass the script, else fail the script. That is the use of web get int property. That is not only the use, the other use is, for example, a particular request is downloading a PDF file. If this request is download request, it is downloading something. If the download size, if you want to know the download size, if the download size is 1 MB, you have to pass the transaction. If the download size is 2 MB, you have to fail the transaction. So, if you want to know the size, you have to use this web get int property. HTTP info download size will return the download size of that particular request. Then you compare the download size. If the download size is 1 MB, script pass. If the download size is 2 MB, script fail. So, if you want to know the status code or if you want to know the size of the request, you have to use this function web get int property. So if you know the functionality of the function, what is the importance of the function, then you can use it anywhere. So see, situation has to come. If you got a situation, you have to know what property function you need to use. Okay. So if I want to download the file. So I have a download request. If the download size is greater than 5 MB, I should not download. I have to abort the script. What I have to do? First of all, I have to compute the size of the file, size of the request, file it is downloading. If it is 5 MB, I have to abort the script. So after this, I have to use LR abort. So see, here, LR abort. If you use LR abort, after comparison, if you use LR abort, it will abort the script. Okay, yeah, and rarely used, not rarely used. Yeah, so these are the important web functions. Okay, these are the important web functions. You can Google it. So if there are if you miss any multiple functions, you can Google it. So we have LR functions and we have web functions. Very important thing in Roadrunner. So please go through this. C functions. We have C functions. String copy. If you want to copy something to a parameter, you can use string copy. String compare. If you want to compare two things, string concatenates. If you want to concatenate two variables. So, and in the sense, I have Raja. I have two strings. This is string 1 and this is string 2. Concatenate means if you use strcat, string concat, the output will be like this. It will concatenate the two strings. If you want to concatenate, so if you know this function, when the situation comes, you can use this strcat, string concatenates. It concatenates the two strings. String length, it will find the length of the string. Okay, str the same. String token, if you want to split the dynamic value, for example, here like this is there. If you want, this is one string. If you want to split the string and copy into two variables, one variable and two variables, how you can copy? You can use string concatenation function. Where is that? String token function. Sorry. String token function. Okay. You can use string token function strtok, and I am defining these variables are a capital type. Okay, ABC, and you divide this. You divide this. It is stored in city. You have to pass this city here. This is the city, and how you are differentiating this one? This is one and this is two with the help of the semicolon. With the help of this semicolon, you are differentiating word one and word two. So now what it will do? It will copy word one to first string, and it will copy word two to the second string. Okay. So this is the use of string token. Okay. Yes, printf to print the data. F open. I told you right. F open. What is the use of F open? Anybody? What is the use of F? Yeah, if you want to open a file, if you want to open a file, I want to open this text file. You can use F open, F printf, F close functions. F write. If you want to write something to that particular file, print something, read something, close the file. These are the simple C functions used in the file operations. Okay. Please go through the document. Practice. Any doubts, please? Any doubts?